this is Gregory with how I lost over 100 pounds and have kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and your weight maintenance. Today we're going to continue this series of crap they put in our food and talk about our meat supply and our fish supply and how this can jeopardize and undermine your weight loss. Now, before we begin, if you need help with your weight loss, contact me through the Clarity link found here in the episode notes. Also, check out my website, my podcasts, my books, and if you appreciate my content, please hit the like button right now. Okay, so we touched upon two themes that we're going to touch upon here again in the last couple episodes. One of them is pesticides that they spray on our produce, and the other one is going to be antibiotics destroying our microbiome. Now, even if you do a real good job of not taking antibiotics for a variety of reasons, let's say you don't get sick, or you do want to cultivate and protect your microbiome, most of us get antibiotics, how? Wait for it. Through the animals, through the meat that we eat. Now, a lot of the vegetarians are like, well, Gregory, I don't have to worry about that. But the majority of us who do eat meat, and I am a flexitarian, I do eat meat here and there, but I don't eat it every day necessarily. Our livestock, our chickens, our cows, our pigs are all shot up with antibiotics. Why? It's two reasons. One, they're in horrible, contaminated, walking around their own feces lots, and so they do get sick and diseased. And that's part of it. The other part is mostly in the 1950s, they figured out that antibiotics make our livestock fatter. And so if you look at pictures of chickens in the 1950s and pictures of chickens in 2000, they're a lot bigger because they've been shot up with antibiotics. So the question is, aside from it being not healthy for your chickens, because you've seen these videos of the chickens whose legs are so small, they break their legs and they're stuck in a cage and they're infected and they never get to walk around. The question is, how do these antibiotics that are given to our livestock and to our fish, because most of our fish come from fish farms, how does it affect us? And the studies are out, because some would say that the amount of antibiotics that these people get, that we get, is not enough to affect us. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. All I know is I just have a YouTube channel here that talks about things that have worked for me. I would say the other problem with much of our meat and fish is that it's shot up with growth hormones. Typically RBGH, or recombinant bovine growth hormone, or RBST is another name of it. You can kind of see it if you ever buy yogurt, it'll say RBGH free or RBST free. So a lot of our livestock is shot up with growth hormones. That's a problem. There's some studies showing that this can lead to our own increase of cancer, and we know that 1 in 2 men will be diagnosed with cancer and 1 in 3 women will be diagnosed with cancer in their lifetime. So we do have to worry about that as well. We also know that our animals and our fish are given genetically modified feed. So, there's a large question of what's the effect of GMO on us, and we'll have future episodes on GMO. We know that most of the corn and soybean and the industrial grade vegetable oils, canola, and some other things that we have in America are all GMO, unless you buy them organic. So for this reason, the fact that we're getting indirectly antibiotics, the fact that we're indirectly getting GMO, and we're getting GMO all the time. Anytime you buy anything from the middle aisle of the grocery store, you're getting GMO, because all those food products have corn syrup, corn oil, and a lot of code names like maltodextrin and all these that are for corn sugar, and we get tons of soybean oil. But aside from that, we really should make a concerted effort, if we're going to eat meat, to eat organic meat. Now, what's going to be organic meat? So ideally with fish, most of our fish is raised in fish farms in Vietnam and in other horrifically disgusting places where they feed them antibiotics, they feed them growth hormones, and they give them antibiotics, and they swim around their own feces. So ideally, if you're going to eat fish and livestock or seafood, buy it wild caught. Wild caught has its own problems, but overall it's going to be a cleaner seafood than if you buy the frozen variety, which comes from fish farms. And it'll say, when you buy it fresh, it'll say wild caught, and that's what you want. When it comes to chickens, again, we want to have ones that are free range chickens that I know, hard to believe, get to walk around, get to have sunlight, get to eat their normal stuff. They're omnivores. They're going to eat worms. They're going to eat a bunch of stuff. They're not meant to live in a cage their whole life and be shot up with antibiotics to get all fat. And then, if you ever watch the videos on how they're killed, they just slice their throats. They just put them in a conveyor belt. So we want to get that. Typical chicken is going to be like the one you get at Chick-fil-A. Heaven forbid we say anything bad about Chick-fil-A or anywhere. That's going to be industrialized chicken, commercially raised chicken, which is horrible. And then with your cows, grass-fed, again, same thing. Organic, typically grass-fed. They're going to be eating, grazing, and that's the way it should be. The typical cow that you get from a burger place, and look, there's studies that show that typical hamburger meat from fast food, it comes from actually 17 different cows. So it's not the cleanest, and it's just a horrible kind of industry that we have. So they're fed GMO all the time, and then they're put in the conveyor belt, their stun gun, and then they slice their throat and all that. And look, I'm not a big PETA person. I just think that we should endeavor to eat meat the way it's always been cultivated throughout time. And God says we are given dominion over the animals. So there's no qualms on eating animals because we are given dominion. Now, if you're a vegetarian for PETA reasons, that's totally fine if that's what you want to. But in closing, we can't afford to buy organic meat and wild-caught seafood. We say we can, but then again, look, are you spending money on coffee? Are you spending money on Uber Eats? Are you spending money eating on restaurants? Are you spending money on alcohol? All these things that really you could reallocate that money to eat cleaner food, because we are what we eat. Let food be thy medicine. I've talked about this before, and if we're going to make a concerted effort to eat produce like the Dirty Dozen, so the strawberries, the peaches, and the apples, we should get organic. We should do the same thing with our animal products. We should, if you're going to drink milk, cow milk, which is a separate question, buy it organic. If you're going to get yogurt, buy it organic. And then certainly if you're going to get meat or fish, buy it wild-caught, grass-fed, and so forth, because we don't want to be indirectly getting GMO and recombinant bovine growth hormones, which can lead to cancer, and most importantly, antibiotics, which can make us fat, because the whole reason they're giving to these animals is to make them fat. Guys, post in the comments. I'd like to hear from you. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care. God bless and pray.